Hi everyone,
Hi and welcome back to our channel.
and tonight we're investigating at the Museum of East Dorset.
Nestled in the ancient market town of Wimborne in Dorset, England, and situated opposite the historic Wimborne Minster Church, is the Museum of East Dorset. Formerly known as the Priest's House Museum, it occupies an unassuming historic Grade II listed building, a hall house dating back hundreds of years. The core of the building is a stone and flint house believed to be from the 1500s. A timber-framed south wing was added, likely in the early 1600s. John Bowridge lived there from 1687 to 1709, and after his departure, owing to unaffordable debt, the house was divided and various tradespeople occupied it. A brick-built service range was added probably in the early 1700s, and indeed throughout its history the building was modified and extended by various families, with the front portion being used as a shop from the mid-1700s until 1960. It was in this year that Mrs. Hilda Coles, who ran the family's ironmonger's business from there, decided to close the shop and reopen the building as a museum. Hilda's father, who died in 1953, had long wanted to convert the shop into a museum, and it reopened on the 31st of July 1962. The new museum initially had 3 galleries on the ground floor, exhibiting a number of objects that had belonged to a local doctor, Sir Ernest K. Le Fleming. As time went on, the museum's collections expanded to cover aspects of both rural and urban life across the county of Dorset. Hilda ran the museum herself for 25 years until her death in 1987. During the 1990s, the Priest's House Museum Trust restored and extended the display area to include collections illustrating the history of the building and its inhabitants from different centuries, as well as its domestic and shop settings. At this point, there were now 10 rooms dedicated as galleries. On October the 26th, 2020, following a major fundraising campaign and significant year-long restoration and refurbishment project, the building was reopened as the Museum of East Dorset. It was during this most recent refurbishment that strange phenomena began to be experienced in the museum, almost as if the building work had disturbed or awoken something. Shortly after reopening, an architect was stood in the back part of the Georgian book room, which now contains second-hand books for sale. He briefly left the room, and on his return a short while later, noticed that several of the books that had previously been stacked upright were now stacked horizontally on top of one another. Cold spots have occasionally been felt throughout the museum, and smells of cooking have been experienced in the old kitchen, which hasn't prepared a meal in many years. Knocks, raps and taps have been heard emanating from empty rooms, but perhaps most notably is the phenomena of whispers and footsteps being heard throughout the museum's galleries, and particularly so at the foot of the main staircase. into the old kitchen area. In this room, people have experienced the smell of cooking, unsurprisingly, but it's not actually used as a kitchen anymore. We haven't actually smelt anything so far. And through here, this, we've been informed, is the original water pump for the building, and it's still in situ, the same place it's been for hundreds of years, and believed to be one of the, is it one of the few or the only?
I think you said it was the
only surviving pump of its kind that's actually still in situ. Amazing. That's through the step. We'll go up there later on. Back through the kitchen. And into the hall. Large fireplace. Lots of different display cabinets in the museum, detailing local life over many, many years. This one seems to be dealing with the war.
Ration books down there.
Ration book. Gas mask. And there's a child's one. They used to make these masks look a bit funny so that children wouldn't be frightened to wear them.
It's quite frightening, to be honest.
In addition to the equipment that we've placed in the second-hand bookshop of the museum, we are now at the base of the main staircase, where on numerous occasions people have experienced whispers. They've been heard throughout the building, but quite a few reports detail whispers being heard at the base of the stairs here. So we have a camera trained on the stairs for the duration of the night, and a voice recorder, and we've also got an old style tape recorder running with a dynamic microphone, just to see if we are able to pick anything up. So again, we'll return at the end of the night and gather our equipment and see what we find. gift shop. So throughout the course of our investigation here tonight at the Museum of East Dorset, we're going to be leaving some data loggers running in this room. The room where the camera is situated pointing at me used to be an office, and the lady that used to work in there never really liked the feel of this room for some reason and always felt uneasy in it. And a few years ago, following renovation work, an architect was in here, briefly left the room, and when he returned, a pile of books had been stacked on the bookshelf. There have been other reports of books falling off the shelves as well, so we're leaving one of our books on the shelf. If there is anything here that is able to move our book, if you don't want to move any of the others, then please do so, and we'll see what we see later on when we return.
So we're now stood in what used to be the old ironmonger's shop with the counter that served the customers. To the left of us is the original doorway to the building. There's lovely stonework. Also in this room, we've got a glass floor where you can see the foundations, the original foundations that date back to the late 1500s. The bells are ringing 11 chimes just outside. Okay, this EVP session is continuing in the stationer's shop, which is next to the ironmongers. Is there anybody here that would like to talk to us? We don't mean you any harm, we're here to help, here to listen to you. If there's anything you want to tell us. Is there anybody here that used to work here or live in these old buildings? There's some people walking past outside, voices you can hear. Do you mind us being here? What was it like to work here and live here? Are you happy with the changes that have been made? Some footsteps, people walking past. What was it like to live here back in the 1600s? Is there anything you'd like to say to us? Are you happy that children come to visit and learn about the history of Wimborne? More people walking past. Okay, if there's anything else you'd like to tell us, if you have any questions for us, please do so now. I'm going to end this session in a minute. Thank you.
this room, I have a large selection of Victorian Valentine cards. These were shut away in a box for many, many years and preserved perfectly. And these ones, on this side of the case at least, were called vinegar Valentine's cards. So called because they were often sent to people rather than sending them to somebody you liked. You sent a vinegar Valentine card to somebody you didn't. And through into the back room here. It's kicking out time at the pub, or soon will be, so if you can hear any voices, they're out on the street. So now we're going to the first floor. All of these display cases contain items, local items. I believe that was an old train, the train station sign at Wimborne. There's so much here to see. It's a shame we're not paying more attention to some of the items on display, but we're obviously here for something else. This wall was discovered by the contractors during the building renovation work in 2019 to 2020. It's a partition wall dating from the 1700s. It's got burnt bricks from the 1600s. And there's newspaper. I think they must have lined the wall with newspaper to insulate it. But it's lovely that that's on display. A rather interesting story was told to us about this area we're in right now. A few weeks ago, somebody was in here around lunchtime and something very strange happened. They were looking at the record sleeve in this display case. It has a picture of Jerry Allison on the front of it. Now he was one of the legendary crickets that performed with the even more legendary Buddy Holly. And when this person was looking into the case, a gentleman came up to the side of them and said, "That's me. That's me. I'm Jerry Allison, but some people also know me as Ivan." And anyway, this person didn't think any more of it. But they came back into the room shortly after to see if they could see this person, but he wasn't there. Now the strange thing about this story is that this only happened a few weeks ago. We're now in July 2025. Jerry Allison died in 2022. And I've actually got chills running down my back just saying that. That's very strange. I've been informed that they're going to look at the CCTV footage, so hopefully by the time this video goes out we'll have some news as to where this gentleman came from. Was he seen where people buy their tickets? Was he seen on CCTV camera walking into the building? It'd be very interesting to find out. Now DV diode spirit box session in the room where a lady claimed to see somebody who claimed to be Jerry Allison of Buddy Holly and the Crickets fame. If there is anybody in here with us, can you come into this area, speak into the box I'm holding, please? Is there anybody in here with us who used to live in this building? if you lived here, what year or years were you present here? Did you work here? How old were you when you died? Were you here when this building was a house, or were you here after it has started to be used as a shop? Do you have a connection with any of the items that are on display in this museum? If yes, which items are you connected to? Do you mind us being here? We are very interested about history, and this building has a lot of history going back nearly 500 years. Is there anything you'd like to tell us about when you were here?
Excuse me.
Bless you. If there's nothing you wish to say to us, we'll close this session down in a moment, but we'd like to give you one last opportunity. If there's anything at all you'd like to say, a message you'd like to give, then please do so now. Don't be afraid. Please come forward and just speak into the box I'm holding. It won't hurt you. It will help us to record your words so we can hopefully understand your situation. If you have spoken to us, then we'd just like to say thank you very much. We appreciate you coming forward. And we'll say bye-bye for now. Much of the old timber work is still on display. You can see the laths there, the old lath and plaster work. Wonder how old that is.
Just got your reflection in the glass cabinet there on the thermal camera. I thought there was someone stood next to you.
This wedding dress is very old. I believe it's Victorian. And I seem to have read somewhere that it was last worn. I think there's a picture there. of it being worn in, I believe it was the 1950s. I wonder if that's Wimborne Minster.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
I think it's silk.
Silk or satin, maybe?
Silk.
Silk. Okay. And there's the, what would you call that place? That's the veil.
It is.
And in this cabinet here, we have the remains of an Iron Age man. It was discovered near Tarrant Hinton and is the earliest identified prehistoric case of tuberculosis. They found signs of tuberculosis in the bones. Very interesting.
Didn't find a skull though, by the looks of it.
No. It's an old penny farthing bicycle. That's quite a small one. This room has been made to look like an old schoolroom. Wouldn't have been a schoolroom back in the day, but these old desks are genuine old desks, and schoolmaster's desks there. Now there's something quite interesting through here. Let's have a look behind this door. It's a mummified cat. During the 1600s, dead cats, dead chickens or old shoes were often placed in buildings as good luck tokens to protect families from disease and harm, or even as a defence against witchcraft. This particular cat, mummified cat, was found in a wall at the rear of a building in Church Street in Wimborne. And if you look carefully, you can see there's a little mummified mouse. They weren't found together, but it's nice that they're together. No. On a shoe. People often put shoes into walls to bring them good luck.
Do you mind us being here?
Do you have a connection with any of the items that are on display in this museum? It can be incredibly challenging when trying to investigate multiple rooms, but not impossible if the correct methodology is applied. When we studied our results, there were no pronounced deviations from our baseline readings taken in each gallery during our initial walk round. We also created a fillable sheet to record our whereabouts throughout the night, so as to mitigate any sounds we produced that might otherwise have been mistaken for anything unusual. When Lisa and I visited the Museum of East Dorset, we were very mindful of its incredible history, and as such feel we treated it with the utmost respect in conducting our serious and well-intentioned studies. It is not a paranormal playground, but rather a fascinating mixture of historical architecture acting as a repository for an equally fascinating collection of local artefacts. There is nothing to fear in the museum. The building may well be haunted on a number of levels owing to the sheer number of people who have lived there over centuries and the age, diversity and wealth of objects on display, although we unfortunately experienced nothing on this occasion. If anything does remain here that has survived death, it's the palpable sense of history and the legacy of love left by a remarkable woman, Hilda Coles, who realised her father's dream, kept it in her heart and finally gifted it to the local community for all to enjoy. Shortly before the completion of this video's edit, the Museum of East Dorset contacted us. They confirmed they had both located and studied the CCTV footage concerning an alleged possible paranormal incident in early July 2025 in the temporary exhibitions gallery. It was stated that a woman was looking into a display case in the gallery at a record sleeve containing a picture of a young Jerry Allison who played drums in the legendary Buddy Holly's band The Crickets. As she was looking at the record sleeve, a gentleman approached her and claimed to be Jerry Allison. The woman later learned that Jerry Allison had died nearly 3 years previously. The museum staff recognised the gentleman on the CCTV footage as being a regular visitor to the museum who was clearly playing a practical joke on the lady. Whilst on one hand this sort of thing is incredibly frustrating for a paranormal investigator to hear about, as if the waters aren't often already muddied enough, we are at least pleased to be able to bring you, the viewer, a definitive resolution to this incident, and in the same video in which it was originally mentioned. We are extremely grateful to the staff and management at the Museum of East Dorset for their assistance and diligence in this matter, and for our part will no doubt be looking to return at some point, as the museum is definitely worthy of becoming a longer term project for us, alongside Knowlton Church, which isn't too far from it. Been out of the room for a short period of time, and when he returned, I'm going to leave a book as well, one of our books, and
to our right is the old counter. No, do that again. The original footings that you can clearly see with the glass cover. Which date back to,
I believe the 1500s.
could be.
We'll do that again because you don't want to put...
What date was it? In the late 1500s, we've got the foundations under the glass floor. Yeah.
And that's all we've got to say about that, really.
So take 56. So we're now stood in the ironmonger's shop. We've got the old counter that used to serve the customers for ironmongery. We've also got the original doorway into the old building. No, old building. We've got lots of blue bits in this.
To the building, right.
To the building.
Yeah, to the building, right. Okay.
Where you can see the original foundations.
I think they date back to the late 1500s.
They do.
Do you want to do that again, but you need to say it.
Take 59. And to the left of us, we've got the original doorway to the building. The original building. The original building.
Just to the building, it'll be fine.
Just to the building.
Right, start again. And one more. I don't want to smack my hands together.
No, don't do that.
No.
Just put your hands down. Hello.
Hello, and welcome back to our channel.
And tonight we're investigating at the Museum of East Dorset.